If you're here for knockouts, bad bloods, and the best breakdowns, I'm your host, Kelby Cedarquist, and with me today is Derek Schramm. How you doing today,
Hey,
buddy?
how you doing? It's good to be back. It's been a minute since we've done one. There's been a couple
Cheers.
fights. I think not since the Cheers, the BMF fight.
Yeah, it's been a little minute, which is all right. Stuff happens. We both had certain scenarios, it's all right. It's life. It's just something we've been just wanted to do for fun for here, try to get a little bit better over time. We are going to improve in the long run. But it's just something we like to do, and it's okay. We'll get back more into it. We'll start getting a better pace again, and we'll have some
Yeah,
fun with it. We're gonna do a
yeah,
long one
you
today
know.
for you guys. We're got a lot of random topics. We're just going to chit chat. Actually, this is gonna be our first one where we just kind of since our actual first podcast where we just really kind of
Off
had fun
rip.
with it.
Yeah, like everything's pretty. Not that it's been scripted, but we've been like, okay, it's a breakdown, a reaction to the cards, and that's not just everything we want to do. We want to do all sorts of other stuff, but like you said, we're both busy men, got a lot of stuff on our schedule, so it's like it's nice to be doing this again. Though it's fun, and again, it's been a minute, so there's some stuff to talk about in the past, but there's so much stuff in the future in UFC, MMA more broadly, combat sports. Oh my gosh! But like, there is so much stuff going on right now. So before we get into that, how have you
Yeah.
been? What have you been up to?
Oh, nothing much has been everyday life, working, dealing with winter storms when they've came through. Been hit with a couple good ones. One of the reasons why early on that I couldn't make it a couple of times. It's been fun, just having fun, doing life, talking trash, spreading love, doing the both of the things that the Lord loves. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, no. Down here, it's been hot and cold in Orlando, so it's like I felt like I think we got to the 90s a couple like last week, and then this week we're back down to 50s. It's hot and cold. We had some tornadoes the other day, a storm the other day. There was a drought before that with wildfires, and right now we're just getting like literally hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pollen just coating the streets, and like nobody can breathe. It's pretty great down here.
Yeah, pollen's a pain in the Central Florida area. But one thing I learned when I moved to Chattanooga is that Chattanooga is mostly known for the most different types of pollen in all of the world. Is one of the key facts about Chattanooga. Yeah,
Is that true?
I've never Googled it. It's what the people at work tell me. Now, here's the thing: when you're dealing with old farts at work, do you believe the old farts? I don't know, but hey, you gotta agree with them. It makes them happy, and if you make them happy, your day goes easier. Kind of like UFC with Dana White. You make UFC, you make Dana White happy, it goes a little bit easier.
All right. You know,
What I know? Tell me about it. What should I know?
Tennessee does make the top 10, but it's not Chattanooga. Number 5 for most challenging cities for pollen, the 2025 rankings by the Asthma and Allergy Foundation
Okay,
of
tell me.
America. Number 1 is Wichita, Kansas. Number 2, New Orleans, Louisiana. 3, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Okay,
4, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
okay.
And then 5, Memphis, Tennessee. Florida's not even in the top 10. But we did not come here to talk about pollen. We came here to talk about fights. So I think the first thing we got to talk about has to do with this wider MMA trend
We
of
tell you
boring
about that
fights that have been
pollen.
going on. So
Yeah,
we
keep
have to
going.
talk about the most recent, super boring, high profile fight from 2 weeks ago. The BMF, Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. We didn't get to talk about it, so
No, we
let's
did
talk
not.
about it now. No more than 3 minutes. What do you got to say?
No more than 3 minutes. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, this is
First
old
off,
news. We got to get this
yeah,
going.
that's true. It's been a while. Charles Oliveira looked, I mean, absolutely just game changing dominant. Excuse me, how to burp. But Charles Oliveira is, I mean, what did you really expect from a the number one striker of all time in the UFC to go up against one of the best BJJ grapplers to ever be in the lightweight division? When these scenarios usually always happen, usually the guy that's better on the ground usually has an advantage. And Charles Oliveira took that knowledge and was like, hey, I shouldn't just stand up and fight this guy. I should just try to take him to the ground as fast as possibly can. And he did that round after round after round after round after round. And next thing you know, he had one of the most easiest victories I've ever seen from BJJ guy against one of the top strikers to ever walk the planet. It was actually remarkable, and it kind of shows you how much Max Holloway's ground defense he really
It
didn't
almost
have.
looks like a gap there, doesn't it?
Yes, it was
I
kind of
do want to
freaky, the
piggyback
gap.
on that, but go ahead.
But like with Max Holloway's like not able to get away and get back up was kind of insane. He was
Yeah,
never able to roll correctly, get up to the fence, or even just move. He was just stuck there every time he got to the ground. He never could go left or right or lateral and try to get hand position and try to push it down. He never could get the knees in the right place to roll it up. Anytime Charles Oliveira wanted full mount, side mount, Charles Oliveira got whatever he wanted, and he just kept him there.
and that's the thing. So, like going into it, it's like it almost looked like a deficiency on the ground, but we know Max Holloway is good at
Yeah.
wrestling. He has good takedown defense. I think what we got to see is I'm going to say two things. First, we got to see how good Charles Oliveira's grappling is, almost Habib-like in
Yeah.
the way where he's both having success in the grappling on top side grappling and bottom side grappling
Yes.
with the upper body and the lower body able to work and get together, and just the amount of pressure he was able to be, there was no space at all.
No.
And the takedowns that he was landing on Holloway, he's landing in side control, so he's already past the guard into a attacking position with ground and pound
Oh,
with submission.
it was mind blowing at how
Yeah.
fast he could get to a striking position from the ground against an elite level UFC fighter in Max Holloway.
And Max Holloway, who, full disclosure, now that Poirier's retired, Max Holloway is my favorite fighter on the roster. It was Poirier. Poirier retired, now goes
Favorite
to
fighter
Holloway's
overall, or just
active on the roster right now.
okay?
Is
Okay.
Max Holloway. After that, it's probably Robert Whitaker, if I gotta
Yeah.
say. But it was Poirier at the top. But right now, Max is my favorite fighter. So I was definitely going in with rose-colored glasses. I kind of thought Charles might be a little chinny, but the biggest thing I thought was it was a BMF fight. I thought, and you know what, the promoting of it got me. I thought it was going to be more of a stand-up, stand-and-bang type of fight. I thought they were going to be fighting kind of like the BMF is a gimmick. I thought they were going to fight that gimmick style, and it was going to be an action fight. And if that was the case, I don't really think Charles Oliveira wins that fight. And, you see in the first minute of the fight, Max Holloway was already, landing immediately right into rhythm. And frankly, I think that first round, he never saw the takedown coming.
Yes.
I don't, and this is where, because Max's grappling looked bad, and that's kind of weird for it to look bad. I think Max Holloway might have not even trained any grappling ahead of a Charles Oliveira fight because he thought it was going to be a stand-up fight. Of course, no one's come out and said that. I've heard a couple people theorize about that.
It's not a bad theory to think about. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
BMF belt. What do you expect from the BMF belt?
And
Stand up.
so,
But
and
it's
that,
crazy for Max Holloway to not. He should have kind of.
I mean,
Well, we don't know for sure, but that is just from speculation.
yeah,
I'd
but-
hope that he trained
yeah.
defensive
But-
ground game, but
Here's the thing: if the first round takedown took him off guard, he should have seen it coming. Second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, and
Correct.
Charles took him down and controlled him every round. And the damage came on the first two rounds. Charles clearly switched game plans after that from a let me try to finish this fight to a let me control, score if the opportunity takes itself, and it became a control and a positioning, definitely more of a boring fight. I don't think you can argue that.
from a
But-
technical fan perspective,
Absolute dominant at the same time.
absolute dominant. From technical fan perspective of somebody that really likes to watch combat sports, beautiful job by Charles Oliveira. Beautiful job. But from a business perspective, from the UFC wanting out of a BMF fight, maybe not quite what you would want to see. But from my perspective, I was like, that was pretty impressive. But I totally understand where the UFC would come from with them
I don't really
wanting.
think it's UFC. I think it's a portion of the fan base.
Well, that's a better way of putting it. I shouldn't say UFC, but from the UFC fan base wanting a stand-up game for the BMF title fight. You really want to see more of a striking, but it's a BMF fight. It's a baddest mother effer fight. Doesn't mean it's the baddest mother effer striker fight. It's just the baddest mother effer fight. And Charles Oliveira, he's a dude that came from the trenches. I mean, he's literally had nothing and made himself something out of life. The dude came from the middle of nowhere and now is in the UFC and one of the biggest promotions of all time, and is just obviously in the past few years has been just kind of not really taking over the game, but has been in a very amazing spotlight for somebody that's came from that. And it's kind of remarkable. And it's a nice, really cool thing to see. And I really wish people wouldn't criticize Charles Oliveira as much as they do.
I'll say this. If
that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. And like, so because I think there's two conversations with kind of going on with it. And with Charles, it's, hey, Max was landing round one. He shot a takedown to kind of break up the rhythm of the striking. That's a smart, intelligent move. Once there, he exploited a clear weakness that Max Holloway had in that fight, which was he could not get Charles Oliveira off of him. Yeah. Charles could take him down, and it gets to a point where Charles exploited it. It made it a boring fight, but getting the win is getting the win. Charles Oliveira is now the BMF champion, which means it's not pay-per-view points, but anymore, but like he gets more money because he is considered a champion. Yes. He is going to headline his next event most likely, or he's going to be in a co-main with the only person above him being another title fight, and he's going to make a lot more money. Yes. And good for Charles. And frankly,
the more I thought about it, from a conversation we had on a phone call from previous time, I'm like, Charles Oliveira won the fight. He's truly a BMF guy, and he has shown it repeatedly, and he's fought so many high-name ranked guys. Just because he is a ground guy or a ground and pound guy and just loves to do his submissions, that's just his style. It's MMA. It's mixed martial arts. You get all different types of arts forms you want to do. Sumo you want to do. I don't care. Karate. Like, you want to do some crazy stuff.
Here's the thing. I think if we change this one thing about the fight, everyone's happy with it. Some people might still say it's boring. But if we change one thing, it makes it a lot better. You know what that is?
What's that?
If it wasn't the BMF, if Patty and Gaethje weren't fighting for the interim belt, you know what I mean? And Charles and Max, instead of fighting for a BMF, fought for the interim belt, I don't think anyone would have had a problem with Charles just completely exploiting Max's grappling in that fight. Yes. It's only because of the BMF fight and people wanting it to be a stand-up only fight that I think people have that much of a problem with it.
When you put it that way, it makes total sense.
And if you are looking for those just stand-up fights, guess what? There is an easy place to watch high-quality stand-up fights every single week on Fridays. You go to Amazon Prime, you watch One Championships Muay Thai. They do it every week, high-level, stand-up only, great striking. If that's what you want, watch kickboxing, watch Glory, watch Muay Thai. MMA has grappling, I'm sorry.
If you've never been a person that's ever watched a Muay Thai fight, you really should.
It's fun.
It's a spectacle. And if you're a person that really likes what my man Derek is saying, just to stand up, just keep it with their hands and use some legs, and have great defensive work with those, Muay Thai is the way to go.
Start a free trial with Amazon Prime. Go watch it every Friday.
Yeah, it's fun. Muay Thai, kickboxing is the same way. Different style, different rules, a little bit different point system. But
all of them have different. And that's the thing. And frankly, eventually, I'd like to start bringing that type of coverage, some Muay Thai, that kind of stuff. If we're still doing this in 4 years.
NCAA wrestling was on today on ESPN, and I was watching it at work. Feel good wrestling matches. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it was some good.
This is we mostly talk about UFC, but this is a combat sport thing. I want to talk about boxing. Yeah. Once Zuffa Boxing starts having some more interesting events, we're going to be covering it. UFC BJJ, we're going to cover. CJI, I want to cover that when that comes around again. Olympics, if we're still around in 4 years, guess what? We're going to cover Olympic wrestling and Olympic Taekwondo if they do it. If Armin Sarukian goes back to RFF, we're going to cover it next time. So this is the type of stuff we want to start adding in. But we've gone on much longer than 3 minutes. Anything else you want to talk about? with Charles
Well, just a
Oliveira.
real quick with wrestling, a little bit of a surprise, but Iowa's team has had multiple people just move on. Don't know what that means. I don't keep up with Iowa, like college wrestling that much. I do like to watch some of the championship stuff. Iowa college, whatever the wrestling coaches out there, kudos to you. You're doing a remarkable job at your college. Shout out to you. They have multiple people in multiple weight classes just making it to the quarterfinals.
Iowa Hawkeyes, right?
Correct. Yes.
Win 8 matches in session 1 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. And that's the NCAA championship finals.
Yeah.
It's not there's not the final match, but because they do the bracket system, and it kind of just slowly goes in. But they're just like dominating.
Well, let's actually stay on this for a little bit because damn, I wish we had Jacob. He could talk probably our ear off about this too. For people that are interested in watching it, what's the best way to watch MC? How do you watch it?
When it gets to, it's sad because wrestling has such a problem with being able to get the sport out. But from a collegiate level, unless you're in the local area, you have to go to the events, which is the sad thing. But when it gets to the bigger level, like this NCAA championship, it's always on regular ESPN. And it's always throughout the day because it's a perfect time. There's no football on. There's no baseball right now. There's no hockey going on right now. Only thing that's going on NASCAR, and that's only on Sundays for the main sport.
March
So
Madness.
it's like a, and only thing that's going on, is March Madness. March Madness, but when March Madness is going on, you can see wrestling championship.
I will say for baseball, what's it called? They're
Venezuela beat USA.
I know, right? The little championship they're doing has been pretty fun, actually. Yeah. And the Red Sox, right here, their team has been looking good. Yeah. Spring training's almost over, but this is fight talk. Anyways,
I know it's fight talk. I just really wish that you could get. Excuse me. I mean, some of the freestyling wrestling with that one promotion is doing really well, but just like regular collegiate wrestling, I wish you could see it a little more at the local level.
I'm surprised that like they can't just like do
because
it
it's in every single high school in America. It's pretty popular.
I'm surprised like the programs just like again like can't just like put it on YouTube.
Yeah, they just
like, live stream it.
Unless I completely missed it, but yeah, they just don't. I guess it's just because there's a whole bunch of wrestling fanatics and fans and wrestlers that they're just not thinking about just promoting it through a YouTube live. Unless somebody in the comments sees this and tell us wrong, please. But
please, we want to kind of build that network, watch this kind of stuff. But like I feel like with all the because there has been like over the past like 5-10 years, there has been a lot more opportunity to like to keep wrestlers in wrestling post Olympic careers, post college careers. So you kind of feel like they put a little bit of a premium on viewership. Like I guess that's technically what RAF is, but like that's still I think a very strong MMA connection there. Anyways,
yeah.
Oh, I know what I want to say. Last thing on the BMF.
Go ahead.
Who should Charles fight next for the BMF, or should he even fight for the BMF?
Well, should Charles fight for the BMF again, or should he not? It's weird because even though what I said earlier in this podcast, I do naturally want to fight against it because I'm kind of like a fan too, and I kind of want it to be a striking match next time, and I wish he would just... I want Charles Oliveira, please just let...
If you're going to have a gimmick fight, you want it to be a gimmick.
Correct.
And with the BMF, like, it wasn't... The problem is, once Max Holloway got a hold of the BMF, and then obviously now Charles Oliveira, no disrespect to Gaethje, who's fighting for the belt in his next fight, or Poirier, who's fought for the belt several times, who also fought for the BMF. But, like, when Nate and Nick did it, they were past title ambitions.
Yeah.
Not Nate and Nick. Nate and
Jorge.
And they were past their title. I mean, technically not because, Jorge's... Regardless, though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like... They really are kind of past like their title runs or like highest level peaks. And it's like that's where it was kind of fun, where it's like it was this extra thing to give the beloved, fan favorite action fighters an extra thing. Like frankly, if you could take I wish they made Conor McGregor Cowboy a BMF fight. You know what I mean? That would have been great for Cowboy, even though he would have lost to shoulder strikes. That would have been terrible. But like that's the type of stuff I think for. So for like Charles, it does make it hard, like because like he is like he clearly wants to get back to the lightweight belt, and I mean with Ilya, it's hard to get there, but like Charles Armin Sarukian's an amazing fight, but that's not a BMF fight. That's a number one contender fight, and it's like if you're looking for BMF, I know Dan Hooker's name was kind of in the running, and Dan Hooker Max Holloway sounded really fun. Dan Hooker Charles Oliveira. I mean, like, I guess we can do it. Like, who's going to say no? But, like, a little bit of prestige lost, a little bit of luster kind of, like, shaved off the BMF if that's the next fight, right?
You cannot do that as a next fight.
Right? Like who, like, okay, cool. I think I'm glad, because, like, you could have done it, Dan Hooker, Max Holloway.
Yeah, you could have done Dan Hooker, Max
I
Holloway,
don't
but
think
you
you can
can't
do
do
Dan
Dan Hooker,
Hooker.
Charles Oliveira. No.
I don't think that works.
No, it doesn't work. I feel for some reason I feel like it'd be literally the exact same.
Yeah, except worse.
Yes,
I
just
guess you could do Conor.
And for some reason, I feel like Conor would be able to survive slightly longer. I don't know why, but it's just.
Conor
But I feel like Conor McGregor loses too.
Well, here's the thing: Conor would make it 170.
170 Conor is very different than 150.
He's going to come out like if he can make it to the ring and fight. He would come out like a cannon.
And it can only be a 3-round fight, but it would obviously be a 5-round.
Well, no, it's a BMF. It'd be a 5-round.
Yeah, to say it'd obviously be a 5-round.
And it's just because Charles can get hit, and Charles is a bit chinny. So a McGregor, I imagine, if he can land on Charles, would still knock him out. But if Charles can take down Max Holloway, I think he can easily take down Conor McGregor.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. And once down, I think Charles does bad things to McGregor, whereas, he actually couldn't finish the job with Mac.
You just don't do that fight. I mean,
yeah, and I
think a Conor McGregor BMF fight works, yes, but it has to be Conor McGregor like Michael Chandler.
What do you do with I know when we were on the phone, I said like, look, what you do is you quickly get this Ilya Gaethje stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
Charles, guess what? You get the next fight, or you put him in a number one contender fight against Armin Sarukian, and you make it to where, like, all right, you're going to give up. We're going to still pay you the championship money. You're going to vacate the BMF. You're going to say, I want the real title. Pull the Chandler line, champ shit only. You know what I mean? And then you skirt that out, and then you do Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler for the... You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, something.
That's a rematch, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I think Dan Hooker in a BMF works. We've talked about others.
Dan Hooker in a BMF fight works any day of the week, but you have to do the right person. Conor McGregor need a week.
Well,
you do the right.
He's
person.
clearly the B side. You know what I mean? I guess you can do. McGregor Hooker's not a bad fight. I think would be entertaining.
It's okay to do. Even a unranked fighter for BMF, if both of those people were BMFs prior at their peak, if that makes sense.
It's like Bobby Green, I know, is another one I've talked about. Yeah. Like, that'd be fine if you throw Bobby Green in a BMF. It's like, as long as it's a fun action fight, I don't care about, like, as long as there's, like, a UFC level quality to the fight, you know what I mean? I'm okay with it.
I mean, if you told me that Cowboy Cerrone and Nick Diaz were doing a BMF fight, I'd be like, sure, let's fucking do that.
Right. I'd be okay with Robbie Lawler coming back against Cowboy.
Yeah, if they fought very recently in the UFC within the last 3 years, it'd be all right. Unless it's GSP, then nobody would care. But outside of that.
All right. So, okay, let's move on. That was 2 weeks ago. Let's quickly talk about last week's fight. Josh Emmett loses in the main event in round 1 knockout to Kevin Vallejos. Did you watch the fight? Anything to say about it?
Let me pull up all the last week fights.
Didn't last long. Didn't make it more than 3 minutes against the young Argentinian 41-year-old Josh Emmett.
That's right. Dude, Josh Emmett got, like,
He landed
It
3
hurt my heart.
strikes.
It hurt my heart. Josh Emmett got smoked.
Mm-hmm.
It was one-sided the whole time. Josh Emmett threw one punch, and I had hope. I had hope from one punch that Josh Emmett threw, and I remember the punch, and it connected. And then that was it. It was just an onslaught, and then it was the end of the fight. They called a fight, and honestly, I was like, please get Josh Emmett out of here because it's his time. I mean, he's been doing it for a while.
Yeah, he
There's
just,
no defense. He was trying to run around a lot, but Kevin was just nailing him. I mean, wherever he went, Kevin was just a 2 steps faster, and he had great hands.
have you looked at the rankings since
Oh.
Josh Emmett now the 15th ranked featherweight in the division, dropping 4 spots. Kevin Vallejo's now number 10.
Well, Josh Emmett shouldn't be ranked after what I witnessed that day, and I feel bad to say that.
Well, you know what the worst part is? Rumor has it that Josh Emmett's been, obviously kind of knowing he's kind of near the end. He's been wanting to fight other, old veterans of the sport. He wanted the Pitbull fight. Now he's ranked underneath Pitbull. He had to fight Kevin Vallejo to get
I am
knocked out.
sorry.
Hopefully, we can
Pitbull's
give Josh Emmett one more fight first.
Pitbull's last fight and the way Pitbull fought would murder Josh Emmett. Again, Josh Emmett would get finished in the first or second round by a Pitbull right now. And there's no disrespect to Josh Emmett. Great fighter.
I think there's a little disrespect to Josh Emmett.
Okay, might be definitely so, but
okay, so yes, he was knocked out viciously.
yes.
In that, but we keep in mind, even Ilya Taporia, when he beat Emmett, it was not a knockout. That was a decision win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Josh Emmett's he gets submitted. His last time he got knocked out was Jeremy Stevens back in 2018.
Wow.
He lost badly against a hard-hitting, up-and-coming fighter who's, he's not a veteran like, his other losses. And it's not like he got starched.
Yeah, he did.
I'm not there to write off Josh Emmett's, fighting career.
No.
Definitely writing off his championship run. But yeah, I think he's in the if I'm Josh Emmett, I go try to, have some fun fights. I think Pitbull's a good one. I think maybe even, move up, fight Michael Johnson. That would be a rematch for him.
Yeah. No, there's definitely some fights that Josh Emmett could do.
Emmett, Bobby Green.
Yeah. Well, Josh Emmett and Bobby Green would be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Both losing streaks.
He's 41. Move up and wait and have fun.
Yeah. If that's the focus that he has and that's what him and his camp decide together on what they want to do it. I don't disagree by one bit. Next fight was a women's strawweight fight. And
let's get into that. I got the question for you on this.
What's that?
And it may feel like a loaded question, but I'm serious.
Go ahead.
Did this fight matter? I know, excuse me.
The way that the UFC portrayed it from the pre-fight build-up, they did say it mattered. And then we went and we watched the fight, and Robertson showed what she does on the ground, and definitely they both were pretty equal on the feet, but once she got on the ground, she was very dominant at keeping her down and just letting her eat everything that she was able to throw to her. I mean, she got her down to the ground 3 times throughout the fight, and then when she got her to the ground, she kept her to the ground, and she showed dominance. And then she ended up winning by decision because of that, not because of the stand-up game, because they're both pretty equal in the stand-up game. I'm trying to think how I'd answer that question, though. Did it really matter? Because Amanda, well, it was weird because they built it up like if Robertson won this fight, there was a very good chance that she might get a title shot.
And she might, and that's exactly what I was getting at. She's now on a 5-fight win streak.
Yeah.
Those
but is Amanda, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because Jillian Robertson, and she's one of those guys, she's one of those girls that, we've been watching her fight for a long time. Anyone that's been watching in the UFC have seen her fight a long time. You just haven't been paying attention.
She had a little rough stretch there, but she's turned it around.
She's 14-6 in the UFC. She did have, she's had some losses. All the names she's lost to.
Yeah.
except for honestly, except for like JJ Aldrich. But here, let me go over this current win streak she's on. Polyana Viana, she got that was a ground and pound finish. She decisioned Michelle Watterson Gomez. She decisioned Luana Pinheiro. She got back control in ground and pounds Mariana Rodriguez, and then she just wins a decision against Amanda Lemos. Lemos, what she just, I mean, she's been up and down since her title fight. Now 2-3 since her loss to Wei Li, but Lemos has a win over current champ Mackenzie Dern, and I think that's why I'm saying does it matter, because Jillian Roberson's next fight would be against Mackenzie Dern if she gets the title fight. But Weili Zhang is indicating that she wants to fight to get her title back after her loss against Shevchenko. Between Weili, who's ranked number 1, and Jillian Roberson, who's now ranked 5, is Zhang Nan, Virna Jandiroba, and Tatiana Suarez. And Jillian Roberson hasn't beat any of them either. Yeah. So I think she might need one more.
Well, when you put it that way, she totally needs one more. Now I'm thinking more about it. But it's just wild how the UFC portrayed it. That it was literally, if she won this fight, that she would most likely get championship fight. But when you say it like that, she needs one more fight. It doesn't really matter who, but it has to be somebody higher ranked than her. And if, honestly, fucking do Weili Zhang and her and see what happens. And then if the UFC really wants to push it, do those two. And then whoever wins, give them the chance.
Let's go through the thing really quick. Dern champ, Weili 1, Tatiana 2, Virna 3, Yao Zhanan 4, and Jillian Roberson's 5. Roberson, I don't believe, fought anyone above her at all. Yao Jandiroba has beaten everyone else in that top 5 except for, she's Yao Zhanan, she's beaten Tatiana Suarez. I'm pretty sure she beat Tatiana Suarez, right? No, she hasn't fought. No, she beat Amanda Lemos. She's beaten and she lost to Dern. Tatiana Suarez has lost to Wei Li and beaten Lemos. You know what I mean? Dern has only beaten Jandiroba, and Dern has lost to Yao Zhanan, and Wei Li hasn't fought Dern yet. There's a lot of matchups actually in this division, whether Wei Li tries to return or Mackenzie Dern having to rematch now that she's the champ against people she's already beat. And Jillian Roberson's right there, and she's on a 5-5 win, which I think is the best in the division. So it's kind of a mess, because if you're going to say who's the rightful number 1 contender, is it the champ coming back to her division after vacating, even though she's coming off a loss?
Or is it the person that has on a 5-5 win streak within the division?
Or on a 5-5 win streak. Or is it a person that lost against the previous champ but beat the current champ before the current champ was a champ? And you know what I mean?
You know what they need to do is how they build Dollar Generals in the South.
They need to match these girls up against each other, and they need to feature prominently, because women's MMA has not been taken seriously at all this year. There's been 6 total fights? Of ranked. How many ranked women have fought this year? No, I'll go and check later. It's not. I don't think it's double digits.
No, ranked. No.
Yeah, and it's just and that's the thing. It's I'm talking about top 5 in women's strawweight, which is the most exciting women's division. And it's there's matchups you can make there. Come on, let's do this. Put it in the Apex and have some fun.
Yeah, sadly, it's just the women's MMA is looked down upon by non-UFC fans in a lot of the way. Or not non-UFC fans, the come and view the top fight fans.
Well,
unless it's Cyborg.
I don't think they care about Cyborg anymore.
Or Amanda Nunes.
There's some issues. There's a quality gap. I think women's MMA is kind of in a dark age right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think, but that's the thing. There's still you want to know the most frustrating thing about the UFC is?
What's that?
Technically, what is the UFC? I know, what is it? What would you call it?
A fighting sport. I don't know.
But it's not really the sport, is it? MMA is the sport.
Yeah.
What is the UFC? It's a promotion. Not doing a lot of promoting these days, huh? Kind of like they
Not at
just
all.
take it for granted and we're supposed to just eat it no matter what it is. But maybe if the promoters promoted, people would be more excited
Now
for the
let's get on
fight.
this topic.
Well,
You brought it up. Let's get on to it.
all right.
UFC.
I had to transfer topics. All right.
I like how
40
it's
minutes
the
in. Let's get into it.
Gillian Robertson fight is the promotion transfer into this. But anyways, the UFC.
Really quick, Jillian Roberson looked good.
Yeah,
Definitely lost round one. Faced adversity, came back round two, had a dominant win, and then pulled through round three. Amanda Lemos hard to take down, and at the end of every round, she either reversed position, got up, and hey, 15 seconds left, and she was swinging, trying to just land damage. I have a lot of respect for Amanda Lemos with how
yeah,
she just like, hey, just got laid on for 4 minutes, but I got up and I swung for the fences for 15
yeah.
seconds trying to win the round. It was a good fight. All right, let's get into it.
UFC and their promotioning skills have sank down like the Titanic.
Is it that their skills went down or did they stop trying?
Both.
Okay.
When you stop trying for a very long period of time, you get out of the game. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. UFC is run by people, and people get lazy, and people take stuff for granted. And when people take stuff for granted and get lazy, stuff gets a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a little bit off. And when stuff gets a
His
little
name
bit
is
off,
Kelby Cedarquist, and he's saying the UFC has ring rust from doing their job.
and when stuff gets a little bit of ring rust, it gets a little funny. It's like when somebody's been making a great pizza for 20 years and starts to get old and gives it to the kids, it gets a little bit not quite as good because the kids didn't quite learn everything. And then with any business, people come and go too. You can't expect it to be the same person that we watched in the early days of Anderson Silva when they were promoting things so very well to nowadays. And for some reason, they think, like Dana White has said it, the ball is rolling with the UFC. And he says the ball just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. Well, I'm sorry for you, Dana, but you're creating speed bumps with the row. And these speed bumps seem to be getting larger over time. And one of the ways to get these speed bumps to be flattened out is to start promoting again and getting people more interested in the fights and gaining new fans. We're in a day of digital age. You have to promote. It doesn't have to be necessarily ad based, but it can be through different YouTubers, different TikTokers. It can be through certain, if you want to go older age, do like, I don't know, the Today Show. If you want to go on Jimmy Fallon, you just got to get it out there and just keep talking about it. Even if they just want to talk trash to you, while they're talking trash to you, you promote the business while they're talking trash to you. It's the UFC. You want trash talk, so you should be open with going into any environment and promoting the business. What do you think, Derek?
I think you're hitting it, and you know what? Let me be fair. Um, I'm just trying to pull up his record.
Sorry, I went on a little rant there. I hope that.
No, this is absolutely. I agree with you. Lerone Murphy. I'm going to give the UFC credit for their upcoming fight this weekend. Lerone Murphy, not on a undefeated. He's had one draw on his record. Other than that, he's 17-0. His UFC record: 9 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw. One of their undefeated fighters going against Movsar Evloev this weekend. Another one of their undefeated fighters. He's 19-0. I think in general, yeah, 19-0, 9. So again, two guys,
Yeah, we have
9
two undefeated people going at it here.
0 fights.
Yeah,
And you know what? And here's not a ton of promotion. Both these guys have earned a title fight too, as by the way, and they're making them fight each other because they had to give Diego Lopez a rematch against Volkanov because we all wanted that earlier. Anyways, but I'm trying to give them credit here, so let me not be too critical. Last week, I'm watching the Josh Emmett fights. It cuts the commercial. I had Hannah next to me too, and we're watching. And it was weird because she's like, "Oh, is Paramount Plus getting a new medical drama?" Because you hear the gunshot, beep, beep, the heart monitor. I'm like, oh, wait, no, they're promoting. It was so weird that we saw an ad for the next week's card. Because if you don't know, Lerone Murphy was shot when previously he went to the hospital. He almost died. They cut an ad. They talking about how he came back from adversity. I'm not trying to like do a whole thing. We can talk about it later. But they did something. And Hannah's been watching for quite a few years with me too. But like, here we are, and we're watching a fight night, enjoying it too, by the way. And here they go, put a somewhat unique commercial for next week's card, and we're like, we don't even immediately recognize it as a UFC commercial
Yeah.
because it's so rare they promote. We thought Paramount Plus had a new show. Think of how we're not that stupid.
No, no, that's very
They don't
crazy to
promote. They
do.
take it for granted that fight fans are going to watch it no matter what. And
Yes.
that's why they will feed you slop and they don't try. And when they do try now, it almost feels awkward.
Yeah. They're
Like
like,
you said, they're losing their touch.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They they have gotten to the point where they think the fans are just going to watch no matter what, and they have done it for so long that they think. And then when they do try to promote, they've lost the touch. Like what you just said, there was a perfect way of putting it. They've been out of the game. Once you start going out of the game and you start diverting off the projection, it takes a lot to get back into that correct projection and go up instead of straight east.
Yeah, you got to recalibrate. You
Yeah.
got to like get in touch with the fan base. You got to see, and like Luke Thomas said this. He said, $80 million for the UFC is nothing. Do you know what $80 million can get you?
Yeah.
$80 million can get you John Jones, Francis Ngannou, Conor McGregor, Diaz, Islam Makhachev, Ilya Topuria, all on the same card.
Yes.
That's how much $80 million can get you. If the UFC wanted to do it, they could do it. They
Yeah.
are a monopoly. They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They choose not to.
I was talking to somebody at work, and it's actually very much on the same topic of what we're talking about in the non-promotion. And because we were talking about this upcoming fight card, he's like, I'm not too familiar with Lerone Murphy. I'm like, the dude that fought Josh Emmett, the dude that fought Dan Ige, the dude that fought Edson Barboza. I mean, those are three popular UFC names that he has fought in the last, 3 years, 2 years?
He was on the where was he on the he got his
Look,
last fight
if
against
you're a
Aaron
UFC
Pico. I know
fan,
Aaron Pico is not a big UFC name. He was a big Bellator name. But he gets the spinning back elbow
yeah,
KO. And he's the co-main event in the Khamzat Shemaev Dricus Duplessis fight. He
yeah.
was given a spotlight, and exactly a guy 17-0, 9 fight like in the featherweight division,
One thing that
and
you
a guy doesn't know who he is. Okay.
One thing what the UFC needs to realize is the difference between the NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB have is that the same teams the same teams play very consistently on a scheduled basis. But you can go a whole 6 months, 9 months, a year and a half without seeing maybe the seventh ranked fighter in that division. You have to promote that fighter. You have to make certain people remember. There's not everybody has the ability to everybody's different, but not everybody has the ability to be like, oh yeah, Ramon Murphy fought Dan Ige here, and I remember that day when it was fun. I was hanging out with my boys and doing this and then that. Does that make any sense? MLB 182 games straight, NFL 17 games, NHL was it 82, and then NBA, I think one of them was 82. I can't remember, but you know what I mean.
Like I'm a baseball. You don't remember every single play. You remember the score and you remember the home runs.
Yes.
You remember the good a good fielding play if it was
Yeah.
something special.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In MMA, you remember the knockouts, you remember the submissions, you remember the stories, and you remember how you feel after a fight.
Yeah.
That is what you will remember more than anything else when you watch fights. You remember how you feel. I watch back in the day. I know he's at the top now. I remember me and Jacob watching Khalil Roundtree fighting, and we're just watching his leg kicks. This is when he's like not ranked, nowhere. Like he's not going to be a champion. Like, he's not going to get to a title fight.
Let me ask you this.
2 years ago. But I think it was it Neil Magny, someone like that. He's just destroying the leg kicks. And we're like, damn, he's so good. It's just like, he just looks thick. He just looks powerful. Look at this guy. Years later, he fights, for the title. And we're like, oh my God, I remember Khalil Roundtree like that with us. Who was it? Faber, Ricky Simone, right?
Yes, when he did that, Uriah Faber came back out of retirement and fought Ricky
Well,
Simone, and we were in our training gym area,
yeah.
and he got the wildest knockout. We all jumped up and were just mind blown that this just happened from one of the OGs of the sport. Came back and got a so cool knockout.
Overhand right, 2 ground and pound,
Yes,
round one.
yes.
And so, to be fair, he was coming off of a win in that. He was going win loss, win loss. He was, what, one, two. That was his third fight removed from his last title fight loss against Dominic Cruz in 2016. After the Ricky Simone fight, you want to know what Faber's next fight was?
It was because Ricky Simone, and then he went and he had one more fight, right?
Yep, he had one more fight
And he never fought
against.
again since
It
that
was
fight.
the last fight he had in the UFC. That's correct. Against a guy that is now currently the champion, is when he got head kicked, knocked out by Piotr Jan.
I remember
And
the
we
head kick.
remember
It was
that
Peter
too.
Yan.
Yeah, he
Wow.
fights. He knocks out Ricky Simone. He comes back. He fights Piotr Jan. Wow, and gets head kick, knocked out round 3. And like you
Well, at the time, he
remember,
was still out. Okay, let's not talk about that fight. But yes, correct. Keep going. Sorry.
but that's the thing. You remember how you feel in these fights.
Yes, you remember.
Lerone Murphy's an amazing fighter.
Can I?
But if you go ahead.
The way I've sometimes thought about it, it is a disadvantage that the UFC does have. I do give them a little bit of sorrow for this. In like other professional sports, you have usually between 28 and 32 teams. UFC has, what is it, 700 teams if you want to count.
700 something fighters on the roster.
And each fighter is its own team. It is a lot, but you do need to promote some of these higher level guys.
I
But
don't have sympathy.
but you don't really have sympathy either
Okay.
because you own these
Understand the
guys.
problem. I understand the problem, but the UFC is the one that decided to do events every single weekend, throwing 12, 13 fights on every single card.
All right, let's
You are the ones that decided to have a roster this size so you can, inflate your price that much to
let's keep it
ESPN.
right there because I'm gonna do a transition right here at 55. Do you think they should minimize the roster? Do you
Yes.
think? Okay,
Yes.
55 minutes.
You can
Yes.
cut 200 people off the roster.
And do you think they should not do as many fights, or do you think they should do it in a different way? Well, let me say that. Not as many fights. Do you think they should do as many cards?
I think they should cut like at least 100 fighters off the roster. I think there should never be 6 weeks straight of fights. I don't think there should ever be 4 weeks straight of fights in a row. I don't think any card should have more than 11 fights on it. That's what I think. I think you reduce it, and then you give so much life. And like, here's the thing: this is why UFC will never do it. One, they're going to lose content, which means they can't negotiate as high of a price with their streaming things. And then number two, they're going to be giving former UFC fighters, quote, high level talent to rival promotions. And they're just not going to do that because they don't want to give that much competition. Yeah. But half these people would still be in the regional scene and wouldn't be at, like, we don't have UFC level fighters in like the UFC now. Regional fighters. And like, I'm not, obviously the top of the UFC is still the best of the best. It's where I'm not trying to say like everyone ranked in the UFC still deserves to be in the UFC. Like, you know what I mean? Anyone whose name you know deserves to be in the UFC.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying we like these. How many people? You know what? I should go do the numbers. I think you can probably not sign half the Dana White Contender Series fighters. I don't think you can probably not sign all but one of the Road to UFC fighters. I don't think you need to keep, you know what I mean? And the Ultimate Fighter should have stopped like 6 seasons ago.
I enjoyed the Ultimate Fighter, but I don't disagree with you. The one thing the UFC does need to take like a point from is MLB, NBA, and actually the NFL right now, which they have. They have
1 second.
subcategories.
If I get on this, look at everything the MLB's been doing to make games faster and more exciting.
Well, no. I'm talking about like NFL, NBA, MLB. MLB has minor leagues. NBA has the
Mhm.
G League. NFL has their new, I can't think of the name of it, but they have this like new semi-pro, like, it's not arena, but it's to where they've been testing out a lot of their new stuff there. And then NFL has amazing, and then they have blessed with NCAA, and all the other
Mhm.
ones have NCAA. UFC needs to be able to create their own kind of either minor league, not collegiate because it's not college, but they need to have like a cool little, maybe 100 people, 150,
Yeah, it's called
200.
all the
You need to
regional
develop these
sports on
fighters.
Fight Pass.
Yeah, exactly. You need to be able to develop them. And then if you, Dana White, the series,
Mhm.
you only have so many fights. If you were to have a actual G League like the NBA or the minor leagues like the MLB, they have three different ones: single A, double A,
Mhm.
triple A. If you had something like that, you'd be able to actually develop them and actually see what's happening and then see what type of personality they have, see how they do with making deals, and then see how they do with just everything overall.
Mhm. But like, yeah. So here, I'll call out two fighters in particular who are both good. One far more potential than the other. But we're going light and we're going heavy. Raul Rosas Jr. should not be in the UFC.
Which, as much as I hate it because I love
He's
Meat Meat,
not good enough.
I love Meat Meat, which is so funny. I love Meat Meat because I love stupid, corny things. Oh my, okay, Light, I know you're dying. We'll take a break here in a second. I'll get you a charger. But I love Meat Meat.
Damn.
Yeah, it's that bad of a difference. I love Meat Meat. And, and
All
he
right.
is fun. And I love watching him do his things, and I love his interviews. Just,
He's
but
got
at the end of
UFC
the
coming.
day, I do agree that you need kind of some of those things, but you do need to not be trying to figure out other aspects of your game.
Where I get so like, and yeah, he's fun. He's exciting. Sure, he's good. He's good. He's
Yeah.
great. He should be fighting in the regional scenes and just destroying.
Yes.
He should just be slaying in there, building slowly. Because the only reason why he's famous in the UFC is because he was 17 when he had to sign, and he had to sign. His parents had to sign a permission slip to get in there. Like, come
Yeah.
on, that's
No.
why he's interesting.
Yeah.
You know, frankly, just how Chase Hooper was interesting because he looked like Ben Askren's kid. You know,
The Chase
that's
Hooper thing
why.
is wild because Chase Hooper came in and won that first fight, and people are like, "Oh
Yeah,
crap!"
barely.
Barely, but he
Chris
did win it.
Mutino, Chris Mutino was only ever put in the UFC because Sean O'Malley needed someone to fight on until the good
Yeah.
hands. And then they kept him around, which is terrible, after he showed he had no business being in there. And now let's go to heavyweight, a guy that I love the guy's story. You know, I don't want to talk bad about him. He just fought. Stephen Asplin. As a, fat ass myself, no guy that was 500 pounds. And, it's
Yeah.
great that he lost. He saved his life.
Yes.
No joke. It is great. A guy like that who turns his life around, to be fair, but that is not an elite level athlete that should be fighting in the premier MMA promotion.
No, he should not be.
I'm sorry, that's carnival shit.
It is. Well, it's what the early UFC
Yeah,
ended up getting away from. Why bring it
yeah.
back? And on that note, let's take a 5 minute
It's
break.
not good for the sport. It makes it look bad. It makes it look bad. Have less of it. And you know what? Their broadcaster John Anik says the same thing. And he got in trouble for saying it. But they need less fights. And what you were saying about people not being able to remember everything, like all this stuff, is like, yeah, but like, you're ready for the real thing that's going to cut? We don't need a top 15. Make it a top 10. When there's enough people to make it an interesting top 15, we can make it a top 15.
I've never thought about the perspective.
It didn't used to be a top 15. It used to be a top 10.
Yeah.
They made it 15 later on.
Yeah.
And we're back. Thank you for our brief intermission. That can be ad space if anyone wants to, give us some money. We'll sell coupon books, Dole steak knives, Any of the classic MLM scams, like we will shill for it. Come on, sponsor us, and always gamble responsibly. Let's get into some predictions for UFC Fight Night: Evoyev versus Murphy. We already talked a little bit about it. Two undefeated fighters. Ready for this stat, buddy?
Go ahead.
7 undefeated fighters on this card. 5 true undefeated. And what I mean is both Lerone Murphy and one other guy on the card, they have a draw on their record. The other 5 of the 7 have complete undefeated records, meaning no contest, no draws. But 7 fighters on this card with no losses, and how's that not a talking point with promoting, with back what we were talking to a little bit ago? But let's get back into, it's circular. We'll get back to it, but let's do some predictions right off the top. How are you feeling with the main event? This is a title eliminator to fight Alexander Volkanovski for the UFC featherweight belt. Kelby, who wins? Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evloev?
Lerone Murphy. It might be.
That's who we're all hoping for. Right?
Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for. But Movsar, it's a solid fighter, and you never know what you're going to get with him. And he's proven himself time and time and time again. Not against the most top-ranked guys, but that's okay because he is up and coming, and he's got a good shot against Lerone Murphy. And Lerone Murphy, it's actually a pretty fun fight that the UFC put together because it really shows so much ability from each fighter. What do you think? You gave me a weird face there.
I'm sorry. I'm giving weird looks as I was looking at Movsar Evloev's win streak.
It's
ready
not
for
much.
these 4? Well, you want to know what's wild? In 2022, he was booked against Ilya Topuria, but that bout got canceled. Don't you wish that one happened now?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, he was also booked against Bryce Mitchell that year. He's on a 19 fight win streak. I think nine of those in the UFC, but last 4 wins he was against Dan Ige, Diego Lopez, Arnold Allen, and Aljamain Sterling, all decisions. Likewise, Lerone Murphy's last 4 wins are Edson Barboza, Dan Ige, Josh Emmett, Aaron Pico. The similar opponent in Dan Ige there, mostly decision, but definitely the higher level competition, I think, has to go to Evloev here. Only one to beat a former champ in Aljamain Sterling. And we know Sterling's good. I was really hoping they would just go put Sterling right against Volkanovski when he went down. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Instead, Sterling got matched up against the hardest guy in the division, Movsar. And now, as much as I want to say Lerone Murphy wins this fight, especially because I don't want to see an undefeated fighter lose in his hometown, especially when he is good. I think Movsar is damn good. And I don't know who beats him.
This is one of those fights you just don't bet on.
You should never bet in the main event.
No, never bet on the main event and never bet against Lerone Murphy or Movsar. And honestly, it's proven to be an undefeated stat. And when both fighters have an undefeated stat, you don't bet against that fight. Honestly, I'm still leaning towards Lerone Murphy. I really like his fighting style in this fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where
I like Lerone Murphy's fighting style too. I love it. It's so clean.
Yes, it is. It's a very clean fighting style. But it's a hard one because when I say that, you kind of want to choke on your own words.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going up against such a savage in the other guy. That other guy, I mean, he's been in some bloody fights and he has fought through them and gotten decision every single time. He goes into a battle and he comes out.
So you want to know where my struggle is with it? Both these guys are undefeated, so you get to this thing where it's like, I haven't seen either one of these guys lose.
Yes.
I really haven't seen them come close to losing. So, in my imagination, it's hard for me to actually see either one of these guys losing. But what I can say is Movsar, very powerful Russian wrestler.
Yes.
Strong sambo, going up against a British kickboxer.
It never works out for the British kickboxer.
Not against the wrestlers. No. It does not work out often. often for him.
Maybe re-say that. At the high level, it usually doesn't work.
If you're going to go with the trend, Ovsar should win this fight. I would
Yes. I was just double
I would
checking
not
on the
put my
betting books.
wallet anywhere near a betting line on this fight, though.
Yeah, if
Please.
you want to make any money on this, you have to bet on the Ramon Murphy money line at plus 205.
Do you know what the odds are on it going to decision? Because I believe that would be the safest bet in the world.
Let's see. Going to decision for who?
Either one. And just the fight in general ending in a decision.
Exact method of victory, decision. Actually, is -3. Betting books think decision.
Yeah, like I said, safest bet. Maybe add that in as a leg in a parlay.
Yeah. That's wild. The other ones, dude, it's not even close. The betting books is thinking decision. I mean, you're talking, you'd have to go up plus 700 to KO.
This is why I'm not a good gambler. Because it's like my instincts are the same as I'm like, you know what a great bet would be? This. I'm like, apparently everyone else thinks so too, because it's minus 500.
Problem is not everybody else thinks so too. It's just that you're agreeing with the professionals that make these fucking lines.
Yeah.
And I need to take that
I
out.
think it's going to be a great fight. Remember, everyone, this is in the UK, so it's nice and early for us. I believe 4 p.m. Eastern time for the main card. And
3-round fight.
Actually, not unfortunate. I'm going to be at Epcot watching the orchestra, so I get music, so I will be missing this fight live. So I really hope it's not a decision in the main event. But I will be watching this card later, and I'm so excited for this main event. But I do want to get on. So, what else do you have to say about this fight?
I'm still leaning Ramon Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to make a bet, even though I said multiple times to not make a bet, now that I'm looking at it, Lerone Murphy by decision is what I was thinking the whole time. It's plus 320, and if Lerone Murphy wins, that's the only way he's going to win is by decision. Most likely, if you were to pick between knockout and submission, you pick the knockout. Don't pick the submission by any means. I mean, if you go with Movzar, and if you want to pick submission versus knockout, you go Movzar with submission at plus 700. He does get knockouts, but I would stay away from knockout in this fight. I think if he beats Lerone Murphy, you have to pick submission. And Movzar at plus 700 by submission is actually not too crazy of a bet. And then, Movzar at plus 700 by submission is not too crazy of a bet. And Ramon Murphy by decision at plus 320 is a safe bet to make, I think, in my decision.
That's not bad. I think that's pretty smart. But, Kelby, moving on down the card, there are 3 other ranked fighters on this card. They are
MVP
Michael Venom Pate, Roman Dolidze, and Luana Carolina. And you want to know what all 3 of these fighters have in common?
Who? Say the 3 again?
Michael Venom Page, Roman Dolidze, and Luana Carolina.
Okay, yes.
Do you know what they all have in common?
What do they all have in common?
None of the 3 of them are in the co-main event. It's 2 people that Tapology has ranked at number 55 and 64 in the featherweight division. Luke Riley, he's an undefeated fighter against someone I've never heard of, Michael Aswell Jr., who's 11-3. Why the fuck is MVP not the co-main?
I'm going to show you guys something very simple. You see this? It's tight. It goes in drywall very easily. See this? It's split. It's open. It does not go in drywall very easily when you have to drill it into the wall because obviously it's split. The one that's split that looks like an NFL field goal, that's the UFC's brain. Doesn't make no sense. This one is common sense. It makes sense. Why does the UFC do these things to us? Why do they put Luke Riley up there? Why are they wanting to promote them so much to where they make him the co-main event?
Well, and can I just say something really quick?
Go right ahead.
People want to be like, oh, well, MVP, he's a Bellator guy still, even though he's in the UFC now. He has had more UFC fights than Luke Riley and the other guy, who I'm sorry to him, I can't remember his name. He's 1-1 in the UFC and he lost on Contender Series. Together, they only have 3 fights in UFC. MVP has 4. Why is he not the co-main event? Why? Furthermore, no disrespect to Sam Patterson. Why is he fighting Sam Patterson? Like, I mean, Sam Patterson's on a 4-fight win streak, all round one finishes. So they're trying. Like, does the UFC hate Michael Venom Page? Why?
I don't know, because he is so much fun to watch. He's such an entertainer in the ring. He does fun stuff. He keeps it entertaining while he's fighting somebody in real life. That's what they sometimes I forget. They are literally going in the ring to possibly get knocked out, get injured, get brain damage, get submitted, and Michael Venom Page is putting on like a small little performance on his side. He does some fun things. It's fun to watch MVP. Why not promote this man in a more way? Why not? Why give him Sam Patterson? That makes no sense by any
Unless
means.
they're trying to build Sam Patterson.
No,
But like,
they are not trying to build Sam Patterson. They just want Sam Patterson to get. I'm sorry, Derek, but they just don't want the Sam Patterson to
yeah,
spin
I
off
know,
finish
I know.
MVP.
It's
Right, I
like,
understand you know that, but like,
I mean, and like, okay, Sam Patterson 4-1 in the UFC. What's his best win? Danny Barlow or Trey Waters? Regardless, in his 5 UFC fights, he's never made it past the first round. He has 4 round 1 knockout wins, and he has 2 knockout, 2 submissions, and he got ground and pounded in his first fight in the UFC out. Michael Venom Page. But let me tell you Michael Venom Page's UFC run. Decision win against Kevin Holland. Decision loss against Ian Gary. Decision win against Shara Magomedov. Decision win against Jared Cannonier. Why is he fighting an unranked Sam Patterson?
because the
This is
UFC
ridiculous.
hates popular fighters that are not became popular in the UFC.
This is wild. This is wild. I mean,
But they
frankly,
did,
you know, I'm biased here. Why on earth sign MVP and not make the Wonder Boy fight?
yeah, I don't.
Why sign him? Why sign him and not put him again?
He's a fun dude, and I mean, it's like it's kind of wild because you're wasting a man that is 38 years old and can actually make a little bit of a decent of a run. And he's fun. I don't know what else to say. He has great finishes in other promotion. I don't know.
It's almost like it doesn't make sense.
Because it doesn't.
And like, no disrespect to Luke Riley here. You know, I know he's a Brit, isn't he? Yeah, he got the English flag right there, Liverpool. You know, like no disrespect to him either. You know what I mean? But like you got 2 Brits, you know, going against each other
Yeah.
with MVP Sam Patterson. You know, I mean, like that shouldn't be against Sam Patterson. And even if you're going to do it against Sam Patterson, it should be the co-main event. Like, there's no reason. And then, like, again, like going down the card, Roman Dolidze is he even what's Tapology never breaks down the prelims in 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. So
Roman Dolidze,
Roman Dolidze is still on the main card. Another ranked fighter in the middleweight division. Also, apparently, MVP also wants to fight at middleweight, and they keep giving him fights at welterweight. That's another thing, apparently, that's going on too. As well as not being able to get ranked fights in co-main and main events. Okay.
it doesn't make any sense. And it's like something we've talked about before. Not on the podcast necessarily, but UFC has a problem with.
Today's episode's becoming a anti-UFC one, and I'm really don't try to do that, but like I'm kind of like pissed with the product right now. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, UFC has a very, very, very big issue
Really?
with trying to find the right word with like not promoting. Well, yes, promoting fighters, but it's like they just want them to fail. It's like with any inconvenience they has with them, and it's like if they didn't do steps A, B, C, D, E, and F, they don't want them to succeed now. Whoever, it's weird. Because when you're in the fighting game and the fighting promotion, you have to realize you're dealing with people that grew up. Especially nowadays, that if you're on an American side, you deal with people that grew up most likely with a very strong wrestling base, a very strong BJJ base, a very strong jiu-jitsu base, a very strong taekwondo base, a very strong, even if certain sectors, judo base. And then they go and they train since they were very young and they come up, and that's And then they always go into high school. And when they get into high school, they always will do wrestling. And when they get out of high school, they'll go into collegiate wrestling. And then while they're doing all these other wrestling things in high school collegiate style, they're learning kickboxing, they're learning Muay Thai, they're learning all these other things. All they know is fighting. And once you get to these higher levels, which is going to become more and more and more of a common thing. Now that UFC is becoming a sport that actually can pay decent money, that's a whole other topic without getting into that. Once they start getting to that point, UFC has to realize that they have to be able to equip these people with promoting themselves, with being able to deliver a good product while they're still dedicating their blood, sweat, and tears on the mat in whatever style, form, and fashion of mixed martial arts it is. And with MMA, it's the only sport in all the world that you have to learn multiple things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's mixed martial arts. It's not enough just to be lights out good in one thing. Guys, Khabib was not just good at Sambo. He was good at wrestling.
Correct.
He was good at jiu-jitsu.
Correct.
He eventually got pretty good at striking. Kamaru Usman, amazing at wrestling, became a great boxer.
Yeah.
It's just how many wrestlers turn out to be amazing kickboxers. It's mixed martial arts, and it's funny because it's actually a specialist that's brought on the mixed martial art tangent. But kind of circling all the way back to MVP, the guy's a beautiful tactic. Why not do MVP versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson? Why not do MVP versus Izzy? You're doing Joe Pyfer versus Izzy? Do MVP versus Izzy. Come on.
And Izzy says he wants to do this style of fight.
To make these types of fights.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it. MVP. Izzy has said recently that this is the type of fights he would want to do. MVP is literally the perfect option for that. This is such a fun fight. Dude, you could have threw that on the UFC fight card, MVP Izzy. It would have blew people's minds. That would have been such a fun fight.
You can put that on CBS. You can put that on linear television, and people will love that fight.
Yeah. Thinking about
I'm going to keep going. I'm sorry. I'm on a warpath right now. You know what? You want to know why?
Why?
Because, again, so let's go down. I've already, went to, Mozart, Lerone, Murphy, they should be the main event. Absolutely. MVP should not be the main event over them.
No.
I agree with that. That's number one contender fight. Luke Riley, he should be on the main card. He's a feature. They clearly think highly of him. Absolutely. MVP should have been that co-main fight. MVP is currently in the feature bout. So he's number 3. Let's go to number 4 and 5 on the main card. Number 4, Iwo Baranjuski versus Austin Lane. Number 5, Roman Dolidze, a ranked top 10 middleweight, versus Christian Leroy Duncan. Let me rephrase what those two fights are, okay? So, above number 10 ranked UFC middleweight Roman Dolidze and former Cage Warriors champion 6-2 hometown Christian Leroy. Instead, we're going to have above them Iwo Baranjuski, 7-0, I believe, his second fight in the UFC. He's one of the undefeated fighters. He's a heavy favorite. Going against 1-4 Austin Lane.
That's horrific. That is. This, I wish my camera was good enough right now, but this.
It's annoying. Come on.
It's bad.
The
guy at the bottom is in black and white.
It's so this is Austin Lane coming down to light heavyweight, correct? I believe this is a light heavyweight fight.
What, the Austin Lane fight? You said?
Yeah.
This is a light heavyweight fight.
Yeah, so this is Austin Lane's debut at light heavyweight. So
it doesn't matter when you're coming down.
Yeah, but
unless it's a high-ranked fight.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again a little louder for those in back?
It doesn't matter when you're coming down in weight, especially in a lighter-ranked fight.
It doesn't matter when you're going to a more skilled division
Yeah.
fighting a better fighter.
Yeah. Crazy.
And you know how I feel about ranked fighters. So, last thing on this card, you want to know where that other ranked fighter is?
Tell
Luana
me.
Carolina. She's
Tell
a
me.
curtain jerker.
Current.
First fight in the prelims.
Let me look it up. First fight of the prelims?
Yeah, that's where the other ranked fighter is on the card. Why should we give a fuck about the rankings when the matchmakers don't give a fuck about them?
Well, that is bad. How did I not know that before coming to this podcast? That's actually insane. I think we've talked about this too much. And
All right, so everyone, we're rooting for Lerone Murphy. Sorry, Mozart. No disrespect. We're rooting for Lerone Murphy. We're rooting for MVP. We're rooting for Roman Dolidze. And we're rooting for Luana Carolina because the ranked fighters need some respect.
yes. Well, okay. I want to go on a tangent right now. Obviously, you and me have never been a ranked fighter by any means. But I could
I've always
imagine.
cared about rankings
Yeah.
because, like, hey, they do the rankings.
Yeah.
You should care about the rankings because they tell us they care,
Yeah.
and then they suddenly don't.
Yeah, I could only imagine something that you want to get to at a point of life, and you want to become a ranked fighter, and then you get to that point, and then you're just punched in the face that they don't care about you, and they put you at the bottom of the prelims. They don't even put you at the co-main fight. They don't even barely just consider you at all. What does the ranking mean anymore?
And this is one of those things.
Just
And like, hey, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but going back to circling back to the conversation earlier when I said you can cut 100 fighters from the roster. We don't even need a top 15. We can make it a top 10. Well, if you do that, Luana Carolina is number 15.
yeah.
And she's number 15 in women's bantamweight,
Yeah.
which right now I think women's bantamweight might be women's featherweight is dissolved, right? Like, we don't consider that a division anymore. It never really was. Women's bantamweight and men's heavyweight, probably the two worst divisions in the UFC right now. I mean,
It's
probably those two. I think
I
the
will
best women's division is I feel like strawweight. It might be flyweight right now.
I wouldn't die on the hill, but I wouldn't
I
argue
wouldn't die
against
on
the
the hill,
hill.
but you see what I mean.
Yeah, I wouldn't
It's
argue
the
against it.
ranked fighter in one of the bottom three divisions in the UFC. I understand why they're on the prelims. I'm not saying she should be I'm not saying every ranked fighter should be main event, co-main, feature bout, next one. I'm not saying you need to front load the card with that. She can be on the prelims. It's fine.
Yeah.
You want to put local guys, you want to put people you want to spotlight on the main card. I understand how a promotion works. We've been around. We know how this works. We're not just attacking to attack. What we're saying is they importance to rankings. They ascribe importance to these things, and then they just need to fill a card, and they kind of just say, screw it. We're going to take a guy like MVP who has a loyal fan base, and we're going to put him against some guy that's not even ranked that hopefully can beat him. And we're not even going to make this the dignity of a co-main event. And the MVP one's clear. And in a division that the guy doesn't even want to fight in.
Correct.
But it's the only one they're offering him fights in. He wants to fight at middleweight. And again, at middleweight, MVP versus Bo Nickel. MVP versus Robert Whitaker. MVP versus Paulo Costa. There.
Crazy.
Like, great fights. Okay. I think you're right. We've exhausted the topic of this coming fight night. I think it will be a good night of fights, though.
It will. It will be.
Again, 7 undefeated fighters on the card. Quite a few. Some of them might be losing their O's, but there's a lot of favorites on this card. And that's kind of been a lot of favorites on a lot of cards. I think and bigger favorites than what used to be. I feel like most fights used to be kind of like in that plus 150, minus 150 swing range, and I think we see a lot more of the
Plus
200,
300. Well, Derek, most people won't get to this far in the podcast. I'm going to end this first segment right here.
Yeah, I think that's a good time.
Before we get into the White House segment, and before we get into the more Jake Paul controversial segment, if that makes any sense.
Okay, we're going to go ahead, wrap up here.
Yeah.
we're going to keep recording, and we will be talking about the MVP Netflix card, Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, as well as the newly announced White House card. These cards have become linked, and there's some stuff to talk about with them. So let's go ahead and wrap up here, and we'll get back into that.
Deuces.
See you guys.
See ya. All right. Well, 144.11 when I said that. And, well, you said it at last.